What's up everybody, thanks for tuning in again to Honest Diecast. Today we are going to go over my method for stripping cars. This is the method that I choose to do it. So let's get right into it. First I'll go over everything that you need in order to strip a vehicle using this method. First thing obviously is you'll want some heavy duty industrial grade stripper. This is the brand that I use. This is the Rust-Oleum aircraft remover. This stuff is thick as snot, unless it gets a little warm. I usually keep it on in the garage. And again, I live in Arizona, which is not a cool climate, so it actually thins down pretty good, but that's the stuff that I choose to use. You can find that you can't really find it at any hobby store, but I have found it at some automotive stores like O'Reilly's and AutoZone for right around 20 bucks for a can this size. And it does go a pretty long way as well. You won't have to be buying a can every week unless you're doing crazy amounts of customs. Next thing you'll need for this method, an old soup can. This is the one that I use. You can see some of the old remnants in there from some old stripping, but definitely a soup can or any kind of metal container, preferably not too long. Doesn't have to be narrow, just enough for the car to get inside of it. And then you'll want a corrosive resistant tray of some sort. This is an old baking pan I had laying around. As you can see, I've used it quite a bit. And you will need some pliers. These are the ones that I use. Obviously you don't want to be dunking your hand in there. And then you will need some gloves, either some latex gloves or some chemical corrosive resistant gloves. And obviously you need a car to strip. We're going to use the body from the very first video that we did, which is the Datsun. That was for the how-to on drilling cars. So we'll go ahead and use that body. Don't forget the gloves, because this stuff will jack your hands up. So first step we're gonna do is we're gonna put some of the aircraft stripper in here. I prefer to use a dunk and sit method. You can also brush this stuff on too, but I just find the best results is to actually dunk the cars into here and just let them sit. And you don't need to fill it all the way up, just enough to get to cover the car. There we go. And that's about how, it's probably about this full, so a third full. That should be enough to give us coverage for our car. And take your car, dunk it in. Definitely want to make sure that the car is completely covered. Usually it just kind of falls right in there. Just ensure it's completely covered. And that's that. We'll let it sit for 15 or 20 minutes. All the paint should be pulled up by then. Alrighty, so it's been about 20 minutes. Let's check and see if the paint is doing what it's supposed to be doing, which is going to be bubbling up. Just take your pliers and that's exactly what we want right there. It's like wrinkly and pruny, just like when you stay in the pool for too long. See, and this is the part that I like the best about dunking, is that it gets the inside really, really well. Sometimes when you brush on, at least when I brush it on, I'll miss some of that. So, alrighty. So now that we're done with that, we'll go ahead and put that in the dish, the corrosive-free dish. And now take your brush and we'll just, look at that, it's almost coming all off in one piece. Just nice and easy. Yeah, I remember when the first time I tried this dunking method, to me it just works so much better than brushing it on, because you just don't know if you got enough on, if you went too light on the coverage in one spot, and then you gotta really steel brush that stuff off. So, but yeah, see, it just falls off, which is so nice. So what we'll do is we'll brush the vehicle, we'll get all the excess paint off, and then we'll clean the stripper off, and then we'll run a steel brush by it and clean up the actual body of the car. So now that we're done brushing, I'll go ahead and run this under the hose, rinse it off, dry it off, and I'll be right back. And here is the result of the body after stripping the factory paint off. So what we'll do now is we'll take our Dremel and attach the steel brush, the steel wheel to it, and we will clean the body. Alrighty, so there we go. There's the finished product after running the steel brush. And as you can see, it's much, much better. Should look something like a Zamac when it's all said and done. And then from this point, you can either proceed to sanding, sanding to polish, where you'd start out with a 400, or you can sand it in preparation for primer, or you can just primer if you got a good primer. So hopefully that helps. That's our tutorial for stripping the paint and then cleaning the body after stripping. Hopefully this helps. Thanks again for joining us. Hope to see you next time.